The Laws of Ascension, Chapter 42, Inheritance. Lorik and Nixfang fall for a few seconds before crashing into a body of water. They sink into it before reaching the bottom. Lorik looks around and quickly grabs Nixfang. He swims to the surface and jumps out. Not a second later, a green tentacle with purple dots reaches out and slams down. Lorik ran a few feet away, so it missed them. It retracts back into the water before Lorik sighs. "We got to get out of here. Whatever shot those spears is probably on its way." Lorik says while getting up. He sets Nixfang down, and she shakes, sending water all over. She looks around before sniffing the air. Suddenly, she turns her head and looks into the darkness. The bottom of the ravine is dark, as there's no light down here. The sun's still up, giving them a bit of light, but not enough. Lorik is using his hunter's vision to see. "Master, there's something weird over there," Nixfang says. "Is it dangerous?" Lorik asks her. "No, I don't think so," she replies before something roars behind them. They both turn around, not that they can see it through the darkness. Although Lorik's able to see its aura, all he can tell is that it's big. It starts stomping over to them after roaring. "Follow me, Master," Nixfang says before running. Lorik follows her, not knowing where else to go. The monster chasing them gets closer and louder as they run. Nixfang suddenly turns to her left and runs down a cave. Lorik follows and the monster roars, unable to follow them into the cave. The only reason he knows it's a cave is because the light above them disappears. They keep running, though, not knowing what else might be chasing them. Suddenly, the world around lights up, surprising Lorik. He trips on a stone and falls on his face. He jumps back up, ready to keep running, but stops upon seeing Nixfang. She's just sitting in front of him, looking behind him confused. Lorik turns around and sees a see-through stone wall behind them. It's pitch black on the other side. "What the?" Lorik mutters before Nixfang turns around. "Something's here," she warns while baring her fangs. Lorik turns back and looks ahead. There are glowing blue stones on the walls, lighting up the cave. It leads up to somewhere, but all he can see is more tunnels. "Let's go check it out. With any luck, it'll lead to the surface. And it can't be worse than a dark ravine full of monsters. If needed, I can message Mas." Lorik starts while glancing at his left wrist. He stops when he sees his communications bracelet. The once smooth stone of the bracelet has cracked. There's a chunk missing from the corner. He holds his wrist up and taps on it, hoping it'll work. It doesn't, causing him to groan. "That's not good. I wonder if it'll still tell Master my location." Lorik says while taking the small cylinder Cyrilda gave him out of his ring. He places his thumb over the button but doesn't press it. "Let's go," he says before walking down the tunnel. Nixfang follows him, and they start walking through the tunnel. It's slanted, leading up, and full of blue light. They spend a few minutes walking before reaching a cavern. At the other end is another tunnel leading elsewhere. Inside the cavern are two statues. One is of a man and the other is a demon woman. In front of the man is a small stone table. There's a sword and a gray orb on top of it. They're both covered in layers of dust. In front of the woman is a sword embedded in the ground. Along the walls of the cavern are boxes. Many of the boxes are broken, but a few remain intact and sealed. Lorik and Nixfang slowly walk up to the statues. Suddenly, the statue of the man lights up. It glows before vibrating. Lorik and Nixfang back up before a phantom walks out of the statue. "Welcome." The phantom shouts loudly, its voice full of excitement. It's bald like the statue with a long beard. Its body is blue and see-through. The phantom is wearing a set of armor covered in scales. It turns to look at Lorik and Nixfang. Upon seeing Nixfang, its eyes go wide and they pause. "Do not be alarmed," he says after quickly regaining his composure. "I mean you no harm. Besides, I'm already dead. What could I possibly do to you?" he says, confusing Lorik. "What do you mean already dead? Who are you?" Lorik asks. "My name doesn't matter, for you would never have heard of me. As for me being dead, the me here is only a residual soul. From what I felt while resting, it's been hundreds, possibly even 1,000 years since I was put here." The residual soul says, "Why were you put here?" Lorik asks them. "To pass on my weapon and law." The man says while gesturing to the table, "This weapon is a soul weapon, and my law is the gravity law. But I won't just give them to you. First, demonstrate your law to me. I need to ensure it's compatible with my gravity law. Then we'll perform a test." he says, and Lorik thinks about it. He nods after a few seconds and reaches out. A magic circle appears on the ground next to him. A phantom wolf head jumps out and slams its jaw shut. The man stares at the wolf for almost a minute. He snaps out of it and reaches for the table. The sword and orb fly off and stop next to Lorik. They float in the air in front of him. "You pass. Take them," he says, causing Lorik to look at him confused. "What about the test?" he asks. "I've decided you don't need to take it," he replies. "What if I want to?" Lorik asks, causing him to look at Lorik amused. He pulls the items back to the table before lifting his other arm. The broken boxes along the walls lift up into the air. "Then get ready. For this test, I'll be testing your reflexes. You have to dodge or block the boxes. If you get cleanly hit 10 times, then you'll lose," he says before snapping. The broken boxes suddenly launch themselves at Lorik. Lorik drops to the ground to dodge the first one behind him. The rest of the boxes start flying toward him from all directions. At first, Lorik dodges them, but after a bit, they come too fast. He casts Beast Paws on both arms and starts blocking or punching those he can't dodge. After a minute, the first hit lands on his left leg. A few seconds later, another follows on his right leg. After 5 minutes, the boxes stop. Lorik's panting and has 9 bruises all over his body. 2 on his left leg, 3 on his right, 1 on his forehead, 2 on his chest, and 2 on his back. "Well done. Honestly, I didn't think a lesser mage would be able to pass," the man says with a smile. "Now take this first," the man says while waving his arm. The sword on the table flies off and lands next to Lorik. "Do I fill it with soul power?" Lorik asks, not quite sure how to bond with a soul weapon. "You will, but not now. This sword carries the gravity law, so you can't bond with it until you accept my inheritance," the man replies. "What about that sword?" Lorik asks as the orb flies over to him. "Leave that one be. You can't use it, and I'd like to rest with it," the man replies before sighing. "Besides, only demons can learn that law," he adds. "What law is it? I'm not trying to be rude, but I'm friends with a demon princess of sorts. She might know someone who uses that law." Lorik replies, "What law does your demon princess comprehend?" he asks curiously. "The law of destruction," Lorik replies, causing the man to smirk before laughing. He laughs for a good minute before calming down. He then waves his hand, and the sword in front of the demon woman's statue floats over to Lorik. "Perfect. That's the law this weapon uses. Take it and pass it on to her," the man says after he stops laughing. "You're just going to trust me like that? I could be lying," Lorik says, causing the man to shrug. "Even if you are, it won't matter. Only demons can use that sword, and it's rare for one to comprehend this law, so you won't be able to do anything with it if you're lying," he says before smiling again. "Now tell me, why didn't you use your legs during the test?" "What do you mean I was using them?" Lorik replies confused. "No, I mean to attack. You only used them when you jumped or dodged. If you had kicked some of the boxes, you wouldn't have gotten hit as much," he replies, confusing Lorik. "My spells don't affect my legs, so I didn't use them," Lorik explains, causing the man to sigh. "That shouldn't matter. I don't know how things are in this era. But you need to learn and remember this. Your body is a weapon. Sure, it can feel pain and breaks, which is why you need to train it properly. Don't slack on training your body and properly using it as a weapon. No matter how deep your comprehension of your law, you still rely on your body," the man says, causing Lorik to look down at his body. "A weapon." Lorik mutters before his eyes glow white. White mist pours off him before fading a few inches away. "Master?" Nixfang says, her voice echoing in Lorik's mind. She runs over to him worriedly. "Don't worry, your master is fine. He's reached enlightenment. Actually, you're still growing. You should enter his soul now," the man says, causing Nixfang to look at him confused. "If you enter his soul now, you'll benefit from his enlightenment too. You'll grow up faster, so you should get in there," he explains. Nixfang looks at him before turning to Lorik. "All right," she says before jumping up and turning into mist before entering Lorik's soul. The man waves his hand once Nixfang is gone. The orb floats up and presses against Lorik's chest. It enters his body, and the aura of the gravity law fills the room. Enlightenment is the best state to receive an inheritance like this. His soul will completely adapt to the law and even change it to fit him. That normally takes weeks at best, but now will be done in a few hours. The man thinks before sighing. He looks up to the ceiling of the cavern before sighing again. I can't believe those bastards did it, he says before letting out a laugh. He turns to the demon woman statue and stares at it. Though you knew they would. You even told me I was stupid for doubting them. But you won't hold it against me, will you? I mean, it was a ridiculous plan. Giving his beast law to someone 1,000 years in the future was crazy. I don't care if he had the time readers and seer of fate's help. It was still crazy. The man says before his body starts fading away. He glances over at Lorik before smiling. Did you plan for this too? To let your successor inherit my law? Regardless, I'm still glad I was able to pass it to him. I'll at least be able to hold my head high when we meet again. The man says before his body disappears in a puff of blue smoke.